Hello, guys, and welcome. So glad you're here. We are talking about why the fear of failure can keep you stuck. And really, what we should have titled this is why the fear of failure can also keep you single. So we might even change this title to say that instead of why will it keep you stuck, as to why the fear of failure will keep you single. Um, if you're new here, my name is Arica Angelo. I've been giving dating and relationship advice for 14 years. Long time. So if you're new here, subscribe. I put out a lot of content to really create answers for you. I think that when we're navigating through singleness, through relationships, oftentimes there are more questions than there are answers. And the more that we go out and experience relationship, the more questions come to the surface, right? The more we start going, why can't I figure this out? What's the problem? Is it me? Is it the people that I attract? Lots of questions start coming up. So it's my heart to help bring some answers, bring some clarity, so that when you go out and pursue relationships, or if you are in a relationship, that you can pursue it with confidence, that you have knowledge, you have skills, you have an ability to trust your intuition so that you can make the right decision, so that you don't always feel stuck. Fear of failure is super interesting because fear of failure is often associated with our value, how we see ourselves as a human being, our self worth. So when it comes to fear of failure, oftentimes what that will look like is procrastination. It will look like avoidance, spending a lot of time doing the things that don't matter, that don't get us to where we want to go, all because we're afraid of not knowing what to do. We're afraid we're going to fail. We're afraid we're going to make mistakes. And so when we're in that state of fear, what do? We do nothing. Instead of trying to find solutions, instead of taking risk, instead of going out and talking to the opposite sex, going on dates, having an honest conversation with your spouse about why, you guys aren't having the love life you used to have, why you are feeling undervalued. Like all of these things, we just don't even approach them, even though they mean so much to us, even though they stay on our minds constantly. We don't touch it because why? We're afraid of failing. Because if if we were to fail, then what does that say about us? What does that say about who we are if we fail? And so for many people go, I don't even want to try because I am terrified of discovering that I am a failure. And so that is the interesting um perplexity of failure, is it's often tied to our identity. It's often tied to our self-worth, to our value. So I'm going to give you some practical tools of, if you're in this conundrum where you have a fear of failure and it's keeping you stuck or even single, what you can do to start making steps so that you can come out of that. But most of the time, instead of just understanding what to do, we need to understand why we're there. Because if we don't know why we're there, even if we implement all the right steps, and let's say you get yourself out of this current situation, if you don't understand why you're there from the beginning, chances are you'll just circle back around and you'll come right back to the same spot. So we have to ask ourselves, why? Why do I have this fear of failure? It's interesting on another topic. People also say that there's also a fear of success. That some of us also have a fear of success. So I'm curious from you guys because I want to get your input. What are the things that you're afraid of in terms of fear of failure or even fear of success? What would you say? What is your greatest fear when it comes to this fear of failure, where you're like, it's this one thing that keeps stopping me, that makes me feel stuck? What is that? I'm just going to read your comments. Dave, so glad that you are here. Wow, amazing. Hey, yo, beautiful sister. Oh, thank you so much. Notification on. Awesome. I'm so glad that you have your notification on. That's wonderful. Yo, Williams, thank you so much for being here, babe. He says the same thing that holds you back can also propel you forward. It's so true. It's like sometimes just the tenacity to keep taking the next step, just having that sense of tenacity. It's almost like, if you're being pulled back and pulled back and pulled back, and finally you've pushed and you've taken as many steps as you can. When that just hits and the tension is too much and it breaks and it lets you go, what do? You fly. You absolutely fly. And I think that's the beautiful thing about tension, about challenges, about being stuck is it's in those moments that we really get to see who we are. When I was in Texas and I felt like with getting my visa for here in France, and I just incurred one challenge after the next, just with lots of life things and other things going on. Um, I started listening to that song, and I don't know how to say her name. Is it Sia? The song Unstoppable. And I would just play that song over and over and over. And it's like in those moments, we are building history. We're building history with ourselves so that when we have the challenge and we're able to overcome it, we can always go back to that story. We can always go back to that time where we say, I had this challenge and I was stuck and I was frustrated and I was pissed and I was in pain and I was anxious. I didn't know what to do, and it just seemed like no matter how hard I pushed, there were never any answers. And then boom, the answer came. And so in these moments, like, please don't take them for granted where you're in a challenge and you're not able to find that, like, that answer, that thing that gets you what you want. In those moments, you are building history. What is history? His story, her story. You were building your story. I always think of in the Bible when you think of King David with Goliath. And I don't know if any of you guys know that story, but it's even if people who aren't religious typically know this story. And so, one thing that King David did, which I love, was so ballsy of him, was when he was going to Goliath, and everyone was terrified to fight this dude. This dude was like, I don't know, 9 foot tall. The guy was huge. And so, everyone was scared. And David was like, I'm going to kill this guy. I'm going to kill him. And his brothers and everyone was like, you're so arrogant. Who do you think you are? All of us are terrified. And that's what people will do. Is one thing is when they're scared and they don't know how to solve something, they'll project it onto you. And so it's like, who do you think you are to go and solve this? And so I love what David said. And this is what you need to say to yourself when you're going through a challenging time, because in challenging times, when you feel stuck, when that fear of failure is just beating you, those thoughts can sometimes become your greatest battle. The thoughts that you say to yourself that beat you down, that sabotage your strength, that catapult fear on the inside of you. In those moments, you need to have a conversation with your mind the way that David spoke to Goliath. And he said this. He said, I have killed the bear and I have killed the lion with my own hands. Who are you, you uncircumcised Philistine? Today I will have your head. And I'll be damned. That's exactly what he did. And sometimes when we are going through that cycle where we are afraid that we are going to fail and it keeps us stuck and it keeps us single, we need to remind our minds in those moments. I have conquered this and I found a solution, and I conquered that and I found a solution. And guess what? I may not have the solution today, but I will find the solution to this. And that is sometimes the beauty of when we are going through challenges, is that we are building history for ourselves, so that when challenges come, that we can go back to those stories. You can go back to where you are today and you can say, I went through this and I went through that and I was able to find a solution. I got my breakthrough. I got my answer. I got the love of my life. Wherever you are, whatever your challenge is, know that this is a pivotal moment where you are building history with yourself. So when I was in Texas and having just personal challenges and challenge with the visa and other things like that, and I was playing that song, I'm Unstoppable. And in that, I was reminding myself of, yes, I'm unstoppable. When I set my mind to something, when I say, I'm going to have this, I'm going to get this, it comes to pass. Might be a challenge, might have some roadblocks, but damn it, I'm going to get what I want. And if this is resonating with you, make sure that you hit that thumbs up button. Make sure that you share this with someone, because I promise you there is someone in your life right now that needs to hear this, that is going through a fear of failure, that is feeling stuck, feeling hopeless. Someone needs to hear this. So make sure that you share this. But I'll never, and when you start building this history, when you start building that character, you start building that momentum. My own mother said about me, and it was quite funny. She said, "Oh, that Erica, when she gets something in her head, nothing can stop her. She will get what she wants. When it's in her head, that girl will get away to get it." And sometimes we have to build that kind of history, but we have to start somewhere. And so maybe you're in a situation where you're terrified. And I'm saying, start in your fear. The fear is not going to go away, by the way. Let me just make that really clear. Fear does not go away. What we do is we find the courage, we find the strength to navigate through the fear. Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I'm like coming up with all these like um, um, Bible references, but it's true. It's like when we go through these things, that starts building our history. That propels us in those moments where we're terrified, where we're tossing and turning, where we're sweating the bed because we're so scared, or the anxious thoughts continue to percolate in our minds. In those moments, we have a pivotal moment where we can shift the focus. We can shift our focus and say, I have found solutions in the past, and I will find a solution today. And I might feel beat up right now, but tomorrow will be a different day. And we shift the focus off the fear and we shift the focus onto what we have overcome. I'm going to say that once more because that's really powerful. And if this is you and this resonates with you, I want you to write that down right now. When you are in a state of fear, it is in that moment that you have to shift your mind from focusing on the fear and focusing on what you have overcome. That sentence, that phrase right there, if you can put it to practice, will change the trajectory of your life, because As a man thinketh, so is he. Our thoughts create our reality. And so if you're constantly consumed with, I'm going to fail, I'm never going to get this, I'm never going to have that, and that is your constant thought process, you are co creating that reality. But when you shift out of that and you go, okay, this is my current experience, whatever. I am creating this. This is the life I will live. This is the love that I will have. I will have this relationship. I will find my person. I will have a thriving relationship. I will have a fulfilled relationship. I'm going to have this. It is just a matter of time, but I'm going to have it. Let me know in the chat if this is touching you, if this is inspiring you. Boss Big Mike, I'm so glad to have you here. Thomas, you're so faithful, always here. Thank you really, really, really for being here. Oh my gosh, so many comments. Captain Phantom Nerd, I'm so glad you're here. Ninja Wolf, my man. I love that. Ninja Wolf. What a great name and what a great phrase right there. Just get back up and get back into fighting action. Captain Phantom Nerd says the thinking is if I fail, then I am a failure and others will see what I see. Oh my gosh, you said it right there. It's what I said at the beginning of the video of this. And if you're just tuning in, you've got to watch this from the beginning because we start off really strong on the beginning. And that is the hardest thing about this fear of failure is that we associate it with our identity. That what we accomplish or what we don't accomplish defines all of who we are. Sometimes that's just not true. You know, any successful person will tell you that they had many failures in their life. But what they did different than what most people do is they do not allow those failures to define them. They see those failures as opportunities of new ways to do things, that they have to discover and find a new way to do that, that what they're currently doing is not working. So, what they have to find is a new opportunity to get the results that they want. One of my favorite entrepreneurs is a woman named Sarah Blakely, and she owned a company called Spanx. She's a multi-billionaire. And I find her down to earth. I find her real. I find her fascinating. She's just one of my superheroes. And she said that at the dinner table, every evening when her and her sister would have dinner with her parents, that her father would ask them one pertinent question every evening at the dinner table. And it was this: what did you fail at today? What did you fail at today? And so they would say, well, I failed at this or I failed at that. And what he was doing was he was conditioning them to believe that failure was part of life's process and that when something happened and they failed, that they didn't have to abort who they are as a person. They didn't have to just disintegrate and go, I'm nothing. I'm a loser. I'm a failure. People are going to see how weak I am, how stupid I am. They're going to see all these things. No, he conditioned them to believe that this was part of the human experience, that this is part of the process of creation. How many times did Thomas Edison fail? How many times did this guy fail? And yet he continued to look for opportunity after opportunity. The challenge is that we are not encouraged enough to continue to be tenacious. We get on Instagram, we get on social media, and we see quick glimpses of people's victories. and we don't have any insight into how many failures it required to get to that victory, which is why I highly encourage you guys to watch documentaries, to listen to people's stories. You can build your life off of another man's story, off of another woman's story. This is some good shit, you guys. Some good shit. Puff, puff, pass. This is some good shit. Um, but thank you so much. I just want to speak into this before I move on. I really, Captain Phantom, I really, really, really want to honor you because that's some real talk right there. That's some real emotional exposure. That's some real vulnerability to say like, hey, the thinking and my thought process in this is that if I fail, then that means that I'm a failure and others will see what I see. And so the beauty of failure, this is tough. This is going to be a big one to swallow. You ready for this? Make sure you're paying attention because this one is heavy, but boy, it will radically transform your life. Failure is a gift that exposes what you truly believe about yourself. When I'm going through failure, that's when I get to see what's going on with my self-worth. What do I really see about myself? What do I really think about myself? It's very easy to speak from an ego place and say, "Oh, well, I'm wonderful and I'm this and I'm great and I'm fantastic." And we can pretend all these things. We can fake it till we make it. But when failure comes knocking at our door, hello, I'm failure. That is an opportunity to expose what you truly believe about yourself. And this is why it's a gift, because there may be some of you who are watching that who are going, oh shit, like I don't want that exposed. You do want that exposed. Because if you're coming to my channel, then you are getting equipped with tools on how to value yourself, how to love yourself, how to champion yourself, how to do life differently, how to pursue life from the heart. You are getting the tools here. You are becoming more capable than you've ever been by being a part of my channel. So when it gets exposed, how you feel, how you believe, what you really think about yourself, you can take the tools that I've been giving to you here on my YouTube channel with my lives, with my videos. If you're part of my email list, if you want to be a part of my email list, you can go sign up for that connection meditation. It's totally free. It will radically transform your life. Make sure you go get it. But if you get that, you'll also be a part of my email list. But you're getting the tools so that when these opportunities come up, instead of doing what you've always done, you take these tools and you continue to build a new life for yourself. Can I get an amen on that? Daniel Espinoza. I actually know a Daniel Espinoza. I wonder if you're this Daniel Espinoza that I actually know. I know a guy with that name from Rome, from Italia, Rome, that I met in 2006. Ninja Wolf, the only way to defeat the fear of failure is to have a self-talk with yourself in the mirror and say, that this is truth. I am more of a hero and a winner than a zero and a loser. And there you go. That is true. That is bang on. Thank you for that, Yo Williams. Thomas says, fear that no matter how hard I try, I can't get my life the way I want. You know, Thomas, I believe that you are actually positioning yourself because I know a bit of Thomas's story. Thomas, when you think of the farmer and I want you to pay attention to this, Thomas, this is specifically for you. And remember what I said, you guys. This is why I encourage you to hear people's stories because you can build your life based off of someone else's story. So right now we're going to focus on Thomas's story. Thomas is and I'm not going to share your story here, but I know a lot of your story. And Thomas does try. You will see Thomas at every single one of my YouTube lives. He's super responsive, and he is going through some challenges. And Thomas, and this is where you all can grow from this. Thomas, when a farmer, when he begins to plant the seeds, and every day he waters it, he goes out and he fertilizes, he hopes that the sun comes out, he hopes that the rain comes. He knows that in one day, if he continues to be consistent, that he will get his crops. And so I would say to you, Thomas, that you are in a season of watering, sowing seeds, and tilling your land. And that your effort and that your work, that what you are doing in your life is not going to be in vain, but that the fruit of your labor will be an abundant reward. Do not give up, Thomas. I know you are tenacious and I know you have a wide open heart. Continue to show up, continue to apply these tools. I know, I believe, and I know that you will change your life, that you will get the life that you want. Matsy, thank you so much for being here, darling. Big Boss Mike says, the reason why I'm afraid of failure is because you'll get so far, then fail, then have to start the entire process all over again because the most precious asset in life is time. Oh, I love this comment. Thank you for saying this. Let me tell you something, Big Boss Mike. You are in good hands. You are looking at the captain of restarting my life over and over and over and over and over and over again. I have said I've always wanted to live in France. I never knew I wanted to be a digital nomad. I actually would watch other digital nomads. Now I'm not doing that anymore, but when I watched other digital nomads, I didn't even have it in my thinking that I could do that. I would just watch these other people going out and exploring the world while working from their laptops. And I would just think, wow, that is incredible to have that sort of freedom. That takes so much balls. That takes so much courage. I could never do what those people do. Like, I didn't even have that in my wherewithal. I just knew I wanted to live in France. And so I can't tell you how many times I have pursued things and I have started something and then maybe it failed or maybe it didn't fail. Maybe my appetite increased. Someone was sharing with me years ago. It was very insightful. There was someone that I looked up to as a mentor that's no longer with us, and I asked him how have you been able to create so much in your life, and how did you even know to pursue those things? And he was saying to me that the power of exposure, of being exposed to different things in your life, having mentors, getting online, looking at different lifestyles, different people, different mentors that you aspire to, even if you never have met them, like Sarah Blakely. I've never met her. I hope to meet her one day, but her life inspires me consistently. And so in that, I have either failed or my appetite increased because I was exposed to more and my appetite grew. Like for me, I just said, I just want to live in France. Well, then I gave myself the opportunity to live in different parts of France. And then I said, wait a minute. I know I want to live in the south of France. I'm a beach girl. I need to be by the water. I need to be by the sun. South of France it is. And so what I want to encourage you with is this, Big Boss Mike, because you said that you feel like when you've pursued something and you fail, that you've lost time. And this is an experience that I have learned, and I want to impart into you. There's that wise saying that a wise man learns from his own mistakes, and that a wiser man will learn from another. So, boss, Big Mike, I want to equip you to be wiser than me by learning from what I've gone through. I used to think that way. I used to think when something failed, oh my gosh, I just wasted all this time. And what my experience has taught me is that every time I started something and whether it failed or whether my vision expanded and I closed a chapter on that and I went to a bigger, better dream, is that every single one of those experiences gave me momentum to be able to just do what I wanted to do. And when I started something new, I had all that experience. I could take those tools, I could take that experience, I could bring them with me because those skills, those things that we learn to do, they come with us. We don't lose those. So those skills that I picked up, I was able to bring with me to my next chapter, to my next greater vision of myself. And so none of that time was ever lost on me. None of it. Because what I did was I acquired tools, I acquired momentum. And what that did was it brought acceleration into my life. Very simple example. When I first went to Bali the first time in 2018, I found it very difficult to navigate through. It was super busy, tourists everywhere, people on motorbikes. It was super overwhelming for me. I did not know how to handle it. I've so over the past 5 years, I have lived in Bali every year. I would live there, and then I had to go back to the States for work or something like that. Or I would go spend some time in France to figure out where I wanted to live, and then I would go back to Bali. When I first got there, it was super overwhelming. It was super chaotic to me. I didn't know the infrastructure. I didn't know how to get around. I didn't know how housing worked there, how food worked there, how to get, I mean, simple things like finding your vitamins. Like I didn't know how to do any of that stuff, man. It was just like I was just lost. And so, because every time I went there, I would figure out another system, a new system, to the point when I just went back to pack my stuff back. I was just in Bali this February to pack my stuff to relocate to France. When I got there, instead of getting a villa, I stayed at a beautiful resort. And there was people there who were kind of newbies to Bali. And I was like, oh, you can do this. You can order your supplements from there. And then you're like, what? And I was like, oh, if you want this, you can just have this delivered to the resort. It's super easy. You just message this person and they'll deliver it to the resort. Oh, drinking water? You're relying on the resort to provide you water? Oh, no, no, no. You just call this guy. He'll deliver you a certain amount of water. And then you just put this certain pump on there. And then you have water all the time in the privacy of your room. You don't have to go out anywhere and you don't have to accumulate tons of plastic with water bottles. You just buy this massive jug from this guy and that's it. And so what I'm saying is I'm giving you that example because basically, essentially what I learned was I learned new tools. So when I went back, it wasn't like, oh my God, I went to go live in France for the summer. Now I'm back in Bali and I got to start all over. No, all those skills, all those tools, those fast ways to get what I needed to get done all stayed with me. And that's how it works in life as well. So you don't have to be afraid of failing because you're going to get skills within that. If you are an introspective person, if you're a curious person, if you're a person who's open to accumulating wisdom and knowledge, then you will gain those resources and you will bring them onto your next journey. And because you have those tools and that skill set, it will accelerate your journey. I hope that helps you out, Big Boss Mike. Um, let's see who else is what. Actually, let me pen that for pen message. Where are we at here? Sorry, guys, lots of comments, and I'm like on one tonight. Like I'm on fire tonight. Yo Williams, what do you mean by 1932? Um, I do think that the gym can help with confidence for sure, Ninja Wolf. Um, Matt C says, did he really call him an uncircumcised Philistine? That wasn't in the school version. Yes, he did. He called him an uncircumcised Philistine. Cayman Music says, I've been going through a lot this year. I really hope that this is supporting you, Cayman Music. I really do. Yes, Yoda. Thomas says, Yoda said failure is our greatest teacher. Um, Sharon says, I came in this relationship telling myself I will not fail in another relationship and walk away. You know what? There's a, what's that saying in Texas? Hold them. You got to know when to hold them and you got to know when to fold them. Sharon, I know about your situation. You and I have emailed back and forth. And Sharon, your situation, girl, you got to walk away. You know what? It's not failure if you save yourself. You will fail if you stay in that and you continue to lose yourself. You will fail yourself in that. Screw the relationship, screw whether you succeed or walk away. You want to keep yourself intact. It's a shame if you lose yourself in the process. I love that, Travis. He says, awakening for new love. That is really powerful. Thomas says, fear of failure and anxiety sometimes can double team you. We also learn from our failures. It's so true. It's so true. And when the anxiety kicks in is because it's having that emotional response. It's emotionally aligning with those thoughts. And so in those moments, it becomes very powerful to learn about self-regulation. Matt T says Thomas Edison was a great thinker. Um, um, Good, Sharon. I'm so glad that that helped you. Yo, Williams, that is an awesome comment. I love that. Um, Penguin says, brilliant. Don't be labeled by your failures. Be labeled by your persistence. That is beautiful. I'm going to keep that one for myself. That's really good. Travis, you're so welcome. Ron, thank you for being here. I'm so glad you're here, my darling. Okay, Daniel, it's not you. All right. Well, I wish it were you too. I wish I would have met you there. Thank you so much for your compliment, Ninja Wolf. I appreciate it. Penguin says, image of a goal, achieve, determination, have, here, love, desire first, your goal, nurturing it all the time. Absolutely. You're so welcome, Thomas. You are absolutely welcome. Penguin, you're on fire tonight with encouragement, man. I'm loving it. Ron says, love when you're on fire and see your heart and hear you sharing. Thank you for that. Yeah, this is one that really just kind of like there's just that fire there. And I'm like, I know someone needs this and we are going to change their life tonight. Make sure too that you get that connection meditation on my website. It's at the very top. It's the first thing that I offer on my website. You can't miss it because that will really, if you're in a state of fear, meditation is the quickest way to calm those thoughts, to reestablish new thought patterns in your mind. It's my voice with some beautiful music from a dear friend of mine. And it is life-changing. I even put a mind movie with it. I got that from Dr. Joe Dispenza. But that will transform your life. If you're in that state of perpetual fear of failure, go get that connection meditation. It will absolutely change your life. Actually, I'm just going to send you guys the link to it so that you can just go. I gave you the link to my website, but here's the link directly to the meditation. Go get it. Brandon, hi. I'm so glad you're here, darling. Sean says, good day, Arica. It is interesting that at times our failures can also be our most highly educational moments if we choose to learn from our experience. That is bang on. Well said, Sean. Guys, listen, it was such a delight for me to be able to encourage you guys to breathe some life. Hopefully, when I come with this kind of fire energy, that same, I always like to think of remember Game of Thrones? I mean, how can you not remember Game of Thrones? But I loved Daenerys, and I just love that she would take her dragons and she would just have them breathe fire on situations. And so I hope that I've breathed fire and burned off and eradicated that fear and aligned you with love, aligned you with seeing yourself as more capable, as more deserving, as more tenacious, as more powerful than what you saw yourself at the beginning of this video. And if you're just tuning in late, make sure that you watch it from the beginning because this video will change your life. And when you need extra support, go get that connection meditation or reach out to me for some coaching. Guys, I love you so much. I hope you feel encouraged. Love you, love you, love you. Thank you for that, Penguin. That is a beautiful way to end this live stream. He says, having Arica in our life is a burst of love. She truly has a gift from God. Thank you for that. Thank you so much. Thank you for seeing me. It feels very good to be loved. Ron says, you're the best, darling. Gives me a good outlook on life. Thank you. And lights my fire. Hugs with love. Thank you. Thank you, Brandon. Love you, darling. Thank you, Thomas. I appreciate you guys so much. Make sure that you share this with someone, you guys, because I promise you there's someone who's going through, especially, with talks of what's going on with the economy and everything like that. People are getting in a state of fear. Send them this video so that we can help support them, that they will feel more loved, more championed, and less alone. All right, guys, I will see you again next week, next Monday. So I cannot wait to join you again. And we have a new video coming out tomorrow. Make sure you watch that. I love you guys. Take care. Bye.